Hello guys, good day everyone. This is the Creators Lodge and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Alright guys, so if this is your first time coming across my YouTube channel, please do well to like this video, please do well to subscribe and also turn on the notification button so that when next I drop an amazing tutorial video like this, YouTube will notify you. Alright, so in today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at two things. First, I'm going to be showing you guys what we call typography. All right, I've gotten some comments. People have been saying that I should do a tutorial on typography, so I'm going to be doing a short brief tutorial on typography. I'm going to explain some terms. All right, so if you don't know what typography is, we're going to be looking at the definition of typography from the Wikipedia, and I'm also going to be showing you guys things to note when working with typography. All right, and as a bonus to this tutorial, I'm going to be doing a quick rundown on this flyer. All right, this amazing flyer design that I did. So without any further ado, let's get into the tutorial. All right guys, so I already have the details for the flyer in my Pixellab layer. All right, so that not to take much of our time, I'm just going to be on making the layers visible, and I'm going to explaining how I achieve this and all that. So but then the first thing we're going to look at here is typography. So I went on Google, all right, because I want every one of us to understand. I want even someone that does not have prior knowledge of what typography is, I want that person to understand what it is. Okay, so I had to go as far as checking it on Wikipedia. I don't just want to say it from what I've learned, from what I know. All right, I just want us to have a clear explanation. Now, what is typography? Now let's read this. All right, let me just make this bold a little bit. Now, typography is the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. So I'll take that again. Typography is the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. So now when Wikipedia is saying typography is the art and technique of arranging type, now if you are conversant with my tutorial, I talked about type, and I also talk about font. All right, if you watched my tutorial, the previous tutorial I did, all right, the Ghana invasion, the Holy Ghost invasion, please watch the tutorial if you haven't. I spoke about type and I spoke about font. Now we are familiar with this Montserrat. Let me just bring in a new text. All right, so I'm going to bring in this text. So let's assume that I want to change the type of this text. Now when I go to my text and I click on Montserrat, now everything you are seeing here, which is Montserrat black italic, Montserrat black, Montserrat bold, everything you are seeing here, which is Montserrat, all these things are called the fonts. Okay, I've explained this, but I'm doing a rundown. All these things are called fonts, but the name Montserrat is type. So if I look at your design, I can actually say, okay, you use Montserrat type on this design, but the fact that it's Montserrat type, now you use Montserrat type, but you used the semi-bold font of Montserrat, you used the bold italic of Montserrat, you used the Montserrat regular font. All those subfamilies of the Montserrat typeface are called the fonts. And not just for Montserrat, all right, for any font, any typeface whatsoever. For monuments, now look at this monument extended, this monument extended bold. For this monument extended regular, it is a font. Monument extended bold is a font, but the name monument is a typeface. So the typeface is like the generic name, the general name they all bear, but the subfamilies now, all right, the subfamilies are what we call the font. Okay, don't ever forget this. All right, please don't ever forget this. Now let's cancel this Montserrat. Now when you look at this Luster Master, you're going to see Luster Master regular, Luster Master medium, Luster Master extra bold, Luster Master light. All these Luster Master, they are font, but the name Luster Master is a typeface. Now, having said that, now when we go back to the definition from the Wikipedia, saying that typography is the art and technique of arranging type, which is also called typeface, to make written language legible. So the whole idea of typography is that you arrange your typeface in such a way that it is legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. Don't forget these keywords. It must be readable, it must be legible, and it must be appealing when displayed. Now, there are some designs, when you look at them as a professional, when you look at those designs, you will just discover that they are not appealing to the eyes. So even though the graphic designer inserted all manner of typeface on that design and all manner of font on that design, still that design is not giving. You just feel like, I'm not really feeling this design, because the designer did not know how to use typeface on the design. The designer made use of so many typeface on the design. Now, there are things to note when working on typeface. The first thing is that for a particular project or a particular design, avoid using more than 3 typeface. Avoid using more than 3 typeface. At most, make use of 3 typeface. At most, meaning if you want to use more than 1 typeface, don't let it be more than 3. Alright, when your typeface starts going into 4, 5, 6, your design starts becoming, it won't be appealing. And remember, the definition from Wikipedia says that it's such that it will be appealing to the eyes, it will be readable, and it will be legible. So it also means that for every of your projects you are doing, you need to be conscious of the typeface you are using, if it's readable. The fact that a typeface is stylish, it has, for instance, let me import a design from my gallery. Alright guys, now this is a wedding ivy design I did, alright, for a client. This is a wedding ivy design I did for a client. Now when you look at this wedding ivy design, I'm going to cycle this text now. Now this text, alright, this typeface here, I've forgotten the name of this typeface that I use now, but this typeface here that carries this name, that looks this stylish font, this stylish text here. Now it is going well with this design because this typeface speaks about it speaks about beauty. All right, it speaks about beauty, it speaks about celebration, it speaks about an event. So typeface speaks, your typeface speaks. All right, so there are some typeface that speaks elegance. For instance, you want to do a design for a brand. You look at the brand, what is this brand about? All right, and all these things you can actually, Google can give you these things, all right, free of charge. All right, now you look at the brand. Now, what is this brand about? Is it a friendly brand, or is it an elegant brand? Now, from you discerning what the brand is, or from you knowing what the brand is all about, you can actually know the typeface to use. The same thing for events like this. Okay, you want to do a wedding design, you want to do a wedding flyer, an ivy design. You need to know that this is a wedding ivy design, so you don't use predominantly, bold typeface on that ivy. So the typeface you need to use a stylish typeface. And when you look at this design, you're going to see that the only places I made use of the typeface Montserrat, all right, I made use of the font Montserrat regular, Montserrat bold here. The only places I used such are places that I just need to write the name of the parents of the couple and also the location. All right, that is the only place I made use of the typeface Montserrat. But the other places, you can see this stylish typeface here I use for the wedding ceremony. You are going to see this stylish typeface I use for the family of, and you're going to see this stylish typeface I use for the name of the couple, because I'm trying to depict an information that this thing is a joyous event, something of celebration. So the typeface matters. Now, having said that, for this, now let's look at a business flyer. Alright guys, now look at this business flyer design, of which I'm going to be showing you guys the tutorial in a short while. Now look at this business flyer. Alright, now look at this. I made use of a typeface here, and the typeface I made use of is the Montserrat typeface. So for writing the Bitcoin, I made use of Montserrat. The X Turbo, everything here you see is Montserrat. But When you look at this typeface, you are going to see that I made use of the typeface, but the font I made use of bold, I made use of Montserrat bold, and also made use of Montserrat regular. Now, the reason why you need to make use of these families, all right, using of maybe Montserrat bold and Montserrat regular, is so that you can be able to establish hierarchy on your design. Now, for this design, after writing Bitcoin using Montserrat bold, if I go ahead to write trading made easy with the same Montserrat bold font, and I also write download app with the same Montserrat bold font, what will happen is that if a viewer looks at my design, the viewer will not be able to differentiate each information from each other. Now, the Bitcoin is one information on its own. The text Bitcoin is one information. Trading made easy is another information, which is very important. Download app is also another information. X Turbo is also a very peculiar information. Now, the way I will ensure that my viewers understand what I'm saying or what I'm trying to communicate on the design using typeface is that I create hierarchy. And in graphic design, we can create hierarchy using shapes, or we can create hierarchy using typeface, using text. So in order for me to create this typeface, in order for me to create this hierarchy such that my viewer can understand what I'm doing, I had to ensure that I made use of the Montserrat typeface, but I made use of different subfamilies of the typeface. I made use of different fonts of the typeface Montserrat, just to create hierarchy. And also, you are going to see that I maintained spacing, all right? I maintained line spacing between my text, between my fonts. Now, look at the space between the Bitcoin and the trading made easy. You are going to see that there is space in between. You are going to see that it's not joined together. Now, look at the download app. You are going to see that there's space in between download and the Google and the iPhone store icon. Now, look at the trading your Bitcoin, look at the smooth transfer, look at the less charges. You are going to see that there's spaces in between this text. Now, in creating this space, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to achieve hierarchy with my typeface. I'm trying to achieve hierarchy with my font. So when you are working with typeface also, one thing that will make your design appealing to your viewers is when you understand hierarchy and you maintain hierarchy. And how do you maintain hierarchy? Note that your text must not be joined to each other. The spaces in between each letters of your text must not be too tight. For instance, now let me make this invisible, all right? Let me make this invisible. I'm just going to write something here. Okay, let's just leave this new text like this. Now look at the space in between the letter N, the letter E, the letter W. You're going to see that the space is moderate. Now if I go ahead to spacing and I decide to choke up this space, now you can see that I've distorted this text. It's not going to communicate the message to the viewer. So in achieving good and appealing design, you need to understand how to create spacing in your text. Now, after writing this new text and I copy and I want to write another text beneath it, if I make this text so close to my new text like this, it's going to confuse my viewer, because what spacing does is that spacing allows your design to breathe, and it also allows your viewer to breathe. So someone wants to view my design and I create a space like this, something moderate of this nature. Now after the viewer reads this first new text here, the viewer will take a breath, all right? The viewer will breathe, take a breath, and then read the second text. But if I make these two texts joined like this, the viewer will be confused. Trying to read this text will be difficult for the viewer. So typography is very important in graphic design because it is key. It's not just about you adding images, putting background. No, you need to understand how to use typography. Now look at this design, look at the X turbo. You're going to see in between at the top here, I had space in between the X turbo and the one click quick send. What I'm trying to tell my viewers is that X turbo is important, but yes, one click quick send is also important. So I had to ensure that there was space in between the two to show the hierarchy. And remember, I said that when creating designs, please ensure you don't use more than 3 texts more than 3 typeface, sorry, on your design. More than 3 typeface. Don't use more than 3 typeface on your design. And for a design like this now, I wouldn't want to go ahead and start adding, a stylish, let me click my font and look for a typeface. A stylish typeface, like, let me look for a stylish typeface that you can use for a birthday flyer, stuff like that. I wouldn't go ahead now and start something like this Catalyst Jackson. All right, a typeface like this now. All right, I shouldn't use this typeface for the major focus. Let me make this invisible. Now let me just increase my padding. All right, let me just increase my padding to about 37. Yeah, something like this. Now I want to write Bitcoin. I wouldn't use this kind of typeface to write Bitcoin. It's not going to convey the message. Now look at what it's revealing. Bitcoin. Can you see? Now the fact that a typeface is amazing, the fact that a typeface is stylish, doesn't mean that it is always right for a project. Please take note. The fact that you go online, oh, you see this typeface and you say, I love it, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it does not mean it will work well. It does not mean it will be effective for every of your projects. This is Bitcoin we're talking about. Bitcoin is an elegant brand. It's something that, it has ground. So you don't want to use a joyful or a playful or a stylish typeface of this sort to write the name Bitcoin. It's not going to communicate the message. So these are things you need to take note of in typeface. Remember, let's go back to our definition of typeface according to Wikipedia. Typography, it says that it is the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. So remember, whenever you're using typeface, these are the things you must achieve. Your text must be legible, your text must be readable, and it must be appealing. And that is why sometimes when you are done designing, when you are done with the design, before sending it to your client, send the design to a friend. All right, a friend that has eye for designs and stuff like that. Send the design to your friend. You will see sometimes your friends will tell you, maybe when you use a typeface they're not supposed to use for a particular project or design, you will see if your friend has a keen eye for designs, all right, your friend will tell you that, okay, why don't you change this typeface to something else? Why don't you change it? The reason they are telling you that is because that typeface you used for that design is not compatible with the design. It's not communicating the message it's supposed to communicate for that particular project. So the fact that the typeface is doing well for a particular project doesn't mean it will do well for another project. So these are the things we need to take note of when working with typeface. All right, that being said, we're just going to go straight quickly into this tutorial design. All right, so I just added this design as a bonus for you. All right, for you guys that after watching this video, understanding what typeface is all about, let's just do a bonus design. All right, but then I've already gotten I have all the elements here in the Pixellab application. So what I'm just going to be doing is I'm going to be unraveling them. I'm just going to be making the layer visible. Now the first thing I did is to make this. I'm also going to make the resource file available, so don't worry. Now this is the first image I added. Now the image here, this is the original, this is the original, this is the way the image looks like. All right, at 0, this is the way the image looks like, but I changed the hue to about 144. All right, I'm just going to mark this so you have this now for your background. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to unlock the next layer. No, this is not the layer, this is not needed. Now this is the next layer I'm going to unlock, which is the image layer. I'm also going to be sharing the the resource file for this. I removed the background of this image in the photo room application. All right, now having done this, now you can see from the tone of the guy holding the phone, you can see that the facial tone is kind of blending with the background. All right, that is the reason why I worked on the hue of this background. Now let's look at the previous the way the background is. Now when you look at this background, you're going to see that it's not blending well with the skin tone of the guy. So that is the reason why I had to work on the hue of the background. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I created a gradient shape. All right, if you are conversant with my tutorial, you will understand how to create a gradient a gradient shape. I'm just going to copy it. So this is a gradient shape. the top is going to be transparent and the bottom is going to be red color. So if you are very familiar with my tutorial, you should know how to do this. So I created a gradient shape. The first one, I placed it at the bottom like this. I just wanted to have this red fill. I want the red fill to be on the guy's clothes. That's the reason why I created that gradient shape. So I'm going to lock the layer. Now the second gradient shape I created, I rotated it like this. The reason is because I also want it to have a feel towards this hand, this part of his hand like this. So I placed it somewhere here like this. So can you see that everything is blending together? Now the next thing is to make the layer of the Bitcoin visible. Now I'm also going to be giving you guys the Bitcoin icon to download it. Now the only thing I did in this Bitcoin, this is the way you're going to receive it. You can receive it with background, but you're going to remove the background if I'm going to be sending it to you guys with the background. Now the only thing I did on this Bitcoin icon, all right, what I did on this Bitcoin icon is I added shadow. Now I go to shadow. You're going to see that my shadow, you're going to see that this is here like this, and the black is here, and I click OK, and you're going to see that my offset is -13, and my offset X is -13, and my offset Y is 16. All right, and your blur radius is to the highest 25. So you just mark this and you just lock this layer like this. Now the next thing I'm also going to be unveiling is the Bitcoin text, which is this. So now you can see for this Bitcoin text, once you click on font, which is the typeface, I made use of the typeface Bitcoin, the typeface Montserrat. All right, so that's the typeface I made use of. So you can choose Montserrat, either you choose Montserrat extra bold, all right, or you choose Montserrat bold, whichever one works for you. So that's the typeface I made use of, and you can see that on the Bitcoin they have two different color. It's still emphasizing on hierarchy. All right, it's still emphasizing on hierarchy, and it's given the Bitcoin a unique feel, a unique look. Now when you look at this typeface, you're going to see that the letter B, the letter I, the letter T is not too joined to each other, so it's easy for my viewer to read. And you can see that the distance between the Bitcoin icon and the Bitcoin typeface, there is space in between. So I did not go and go about moving my Bitcoin to the top so much that it's so close to my logo, something like this. No. So you can see that there's hierarchy. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be revealing is the next layer, which is this. All right, so there's going to be a shape here, and this is the color. So you can just pick, I actually picked the color from the Bitcoin icon, so you can do that. So you click on the color. I'm just going to show you guys the color code. So I'm going to click on the text. Now this is the color, the hexagon color code, FDE3SC, FDE3AC. So that's the color code, so you can use that. So I'm just going to mark this. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to lock the layer. Now you can see I'm going to make the download app layer visible. Also I made use of the Montserrat regular, all right, Montserrat regular font, but it's still the Montserrat typeface. Okay, now you can see that in this project I made use of just one typeface all through the project, and that actually makes your project look unique. I made use of Montserrat typeface all through this project. The only thing I was just doing was to change from Montserrat regular, I moved to Montserrat bold, and if need be you move to Montserrat semi bold. But you make use of just one typeface. You can decide to use two typeface if you wish to, but please make sure that the second typeface you are using is compatible with the design. It's something that goes with the design. All right, now I'm just going to lock this layer. Now I'm also going to be revealing the X turbo. All right, the X turbo. How did I achieve this letter X? Just write letter X, you change the font to Montserrat regular, and you increase the size. So let me show you guys the size of the letter X. Okay, so the size of the letter X is 61. The typeface is Montserrat regular. All right, and the turbo is also Montserrat. All right, it's also Montserrat. Now the X turbo is like the name of the brand, the name of the company. Okay, so I'm just going to reveal the next layer, which is trading made easy. All right, trading made easy, trading made easy. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is to reveal the next layer, which is the two letter X. All right, now what I just did here is to just increase the letter X, all right, and just reduce the opacity a little. Now when you look at the opacity, you're going to see that the opacity is 9, and there's another letter X here, and the opacity is also 9. So it's just trying to give it more uniqueness, just trying to paint the brand paint the brand, because the brand is like X. All right, that's the focus of the brand. So I'm trying to paint the brand, you know, all through the design. That's why I'm having 2 big letter X here. All right, so and the size of this is 226. Okay, so I'm going to mark this. I'm going to lock this layer. I'm going to reveal the one quick click layer, which is this. So this is the next layer, one quick click layer. Now the next layer I'm going to reveal is this layer, which is I created a shape. All right, so you guys should know how to do this. If you're conversant in my tutorial, you will know how to do this. So what you just do, if you want to achieve this, all right, the opacity is 19. Now if you want to achieve this, you create your shape, you create something like this, you have your radius like this, you reduce the size this way, you have your radius like this, you mark this. Now what you do is you just reduce the opacity to about 19, and you have something like this, a transparent glass, something like this. So I'm going to delete this. So that's what I did to achieve that. Now the next thing I'm going to be unveiling is the next layer. I had you know, a white stuff. All right, a white stuff at the bottom of this design. All right, a white stuff at the bottom of this design. So I'm going to reveal the next layer, which is the Play Store icon, and you know, the iPhone icon, which is this. All right, I'm also going to be making this available. Now if you look at this Play Store icon, you're going to see that it's not close to this place like this. All right, it's centralized. I intentionally made it centralized so that it can flow with the design. All right, you need to understand how the design flow. All right, which way is it flowing to? So any way the design is flowing to, you align with it. All right, now the next layer I'm going to be revealing is the trade your Bitcoin layer, which is this. All right, trade your Bitcoin, smooth transfer, less charges. So that's the next layer I'm going to be revealing. So I'm just going to reveal the next layer, which is visit our website today. Also the text used here is the Montserrat text, but you're using the Montserrat regular. All right, which is the font. Remember, all through this design we're making use of the typeface Montserrat, but the font here is Montserrat regular. Alright guys, so the next layer I'm going to be revealing is the trade your Bitcoin, smooth transfer, less charges. And I actually you know, included these mark icons, alright, just to show that okay, there are different points. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be adding is just the mark icons. Now these mark icons is to tell the viewers that you know, trade your Bitcoin is 1 point, smooth transfer is another point, and less charges is also another point. This is also another way of creating hierarchy in, you know, during representation of your text. Now the next thing I'm going to be revealing here is yeah, that's all about this. So this is how I achieved this design. So now I'm going to be saving this here. I'm going to be saving as image. All right, I'm going to be saving as image, and I'm going to be importing it in the Pixellab application. We're going to be adding the light, you know, the light effect. Let's go to the PicsArt application. Sorry. Alright guys, you are welcome to the PicsArt application. So I'm going to be making use of 2 light effects here. This is the first light effect and this is the second light effect. Alright, so I'm just going to be looking at, you know, the original design so that I can see how the light effect was positioned. Yeah, okay, now I'm just going to change this to blend and I'm going to change this to screen. Now somebody would want to ask you know, that why am I, you know, using the light effect? Okay, I'm going to explain shortly. All right, I'm going to explain shortly. Now for the sake of this tutorial, let's see if I can get the accurate positioning of the light effect. Okay, so I'm just going to position the light effect here. I'm going to click on my erase tool. I'm going to reduce this, reduce my hardness. I'm just going to brush through softly the top of the light effect that is, you know, coming out. Yeah, something like this. And I'm just going to mark this. I'm going to place this somewhere here. Now I'm going to copy the effect again. I'm going to duplicate. Now this time I'm going to rotate like this. All right, I'm going to rotate so that I can have something like this. Let's see. Okay, let's reduce this like this. Let's reduce this like this. Let's reduce this way. Okay, now let's reduce this. Let's have let's see, let me rotate this. All right, so you just keep trying, you do it till, you know, you get what you prefer. Now the essence of this light effect, why I'm using this light effect, is just to show speed, just the same way the name implies, that says one click quick send. So it means that when you make use of the app, you know, your transaction will go as quick as possible. So let's leave the light effect like this for the sake of this tutorial. So I've been able to achieve this. So the light effect is just to show the speed there. Now I'm going to break up this other light effect. I'm going to move to the top and I'm going to change to screen, and I'm going to increase the size like this. I'm going to place one here, but I'm going to first place one here, but I'm going to change, I'm going to work on my hue. Adjust, click on hue. I want my hue to resonate with the background. All right, yeah, so I have something like this. Let's see. I want my hue to resonate, yes. So I'm going to mark this. I'm going to duplicate and I'm going to place this somewhere here like this, and I have this, yeah. So I actually want this, yeah. So we have this. Now when you are done, you mark this, and once you mark, you download. Now the last place we're going to go into is the Lightroom application. So let's go to the Lightroom application. Alright guys, welcome to the Lightroom application. So this is the design. So I already have the precept I'm going to use for this design, which is this. I'm just going to reduce the size of the precept to about 64, and I'm going to mark this. But I'm going to show you guys the run through of what the precept entails. Alright, so this is what the preset entails. When you go to the edit, my light, my exposure is 0.16. That's just the only thing I did. My color, my temp is 1, my tint is 1. all right, so that's just, and my vibrance is 34. all right, so my effect, my texture is 40, and my grain, the amount of my grain is just 24. So once you just place your grain on 24, you don't need to worry about the size or the roughs, or you can do the roughs and the size manually also. Now looking at the details, my details is 51. I didn't use noise, and I didn't use color noise. all right, so that's just the only thing you have here. And once you impute those settings, you are going to have this. Now once you are done, you click on the tree icon and you save to device, and your design comes out amazing. all right, so I believe with this tutorial I've been able to show to you guys what typography means and how to work with types. all right, typeface in doing a design, when creating a design, how to use typeface, what to do or what not to do. And I also believe that with the tutorial you have watched today, you'll be able to replicate this design and you'll be able to do something nice in your next project. Thank you very much guys. If you are just new to my channel, if you have not subscribed, please do well to subscribe, like this video, and please turn on the notification button, because more updates will be coming in the coming days and in the coming weeks. all right guys, see you in my next tutorial.